Today, forget about Chopin. Today I want to talk about this book by Marion Davies. It's called The Times We Had, all about her life with William Randolph Hearst and her career as a Ziegfeld and silent film star and a sound film star too. Join me today to take a look at Marion Davies on Keats Theater. Does anyone even remember Marion Davies anymore? She was once a huge film star, having begun her career in the Ziegfeld Follies, where she garnered the attention of publishing giant William Randolph Hearst. According to media of the day, Marion Davies was Mr. Hearst's protege, which was a polite way of saying mistress back then. For decades after their initial encounter, Marion Davies remained loyally by Hearst's side until his death on August 14, 1951. The 1975 book featured today on Keats Theater is entitled The Times We Had by Marion Davies and is published by Bobbs Merrill Company. It is an account of her years as William Randolph Hearst's companion. Within its covers, one finds a treasure trove of photographs and stories from the couple's glamorous life together. These escapades are all based on the magnetic tape recordings made by Davies beginning in the summer of 1951. As William Randolph Hearst lay dying in the room adjacent to her, sensing that his death was imminent, Marion began dictating these recollections, assisted by Time Life correspondent Stanley Flink. Ultimately, Marion feared she had revealed too much, and the stories were never published until after her death. Marion Davies had presided as hostess in an endless whirlwind of Hearst's highbrow soirees as the couple wined and dined a plethora of Hollywood celebrities, political figures, and those well-positioned enough to merit one of the coveted invitations. The backdrop for much of the action is the fairy tale castle built by Hearst at San Simeon, California, overlooking the Pacific Ocean. While San Simeon and publishing magnate Hearst will always be remembered, most have forgotten Marion Davies. For those who have not, her memory is often overshadowed by Orson Welles' cruel portrayal of her as incompetent singer Susan Alexander Cain in his 1941 film Citizen Kane. Mr. Welles apparently changed his mind at some point, since the preface in The Times We Had includes Welles' apologetic letter. Pity. Marion had died 14 years earlier in 1961 and was never able to hear the following words Welles profusely wrote. I quote, "I rejoice in this opportunity to record something today which is all but forgotten except for those lucky enough to have seen a few of her pictures. Marion Davies was one of the most delightfully accomplished comediennes in the whole history of the screen. She would have been a star if Hearst had never happened. Too little too late? Perhaps." Seek out some of Marion Davies' films, many of which are posted on YouTube. For starters, I recommend 1928 Show People, a comedy directed by King Vidor, and one of her best. There's an excellent biography of Marion Davies on Wikipedia, and for those of you who want more detail, try Marion Davies by Fred Lawrence Giles, a biography published by the McGraw-Hill Book Company in 1972. Finally, I want to read you this excerpt from the pages of The Time We Had, which really gives you a better idea of the precarious position Davies was in, trying to please not only the public, but also the demanding Mr. Hearst. Marie Antoinette was the straw that broke the camel's back at MGM. WR wanted me to do it, and I was going to try my best, but I wasn't sure I could make the grade. But I read all the histories about Marie Antoinette and went through the whole routine, and I could visualize myself as Marie Antoinette with a big white wig and an upturned nose. We were both disappointed. He had wanted me to play Juliet, and I'd practiced that. Of course, WR thought everything I did was wonderful. He said, "You're perfect for Juliet," because Juliet was a blonde, you know. She was not a brunette. But the studio said no. They said, no. No Juliet for Marion. She's a comedienne. The same happened with the Barretts of Wimpole Street. I couldn't be a sick, consumptive Elizabeth Browning because they said Marion's too lively. She's got to do comedy. I was frustrated at each end. WR was much more mad than I was. He said, "I don't want you to ever have anything to do with the MGM studio." We went down the road, but fast. Thank you for joining me today on Keats Theater for the story of Marion Davies' life with William Randolph Hearst.